I don't remember the exact moment it happened. There was no decision, no promise to myself, no quiet revelation. I just noticed that one day I stopped demanding answers, not from life, not from the past, not even from myself. For a long time I believed that questions were meant to be solved, that if you asked the right one clearly enough, life would eventually respond, with clarity, with meaning, with something that made the waiting worthwhile. So I asked. I asked about choices, I asked about mistakes, I asked about moments that never stopped echoing. Why did this happen? Why did I stay? Why didn't I leave sooner? Those questions felt necessary, like proof that I was still searching, still trying to understand who I was becoming. But they were loud. They filled every quiet space. They followed me into moments that should have felt simple. They turned silence into interrogation, and slowly, they stopped helping. The questions I live with now don't sound like that. They're smaller, more careful. They don't arrive with urgency. They don't push me toward conclusions. They show up when everything else quiets down. When there's no one watching, no one expecting an explanation, no one waiting for me to have it figured out. I ask myself things like, am I tired, or am I avoiding something? Do I miss that moment, or do I miss how certain I felt back then? Is this heaviness something I need to fix, or something I need to sit with? These questions don't make me feel productive. They don't give me a sense of progress, but they feel honest. And honesty, I've learned, is quieter than certainty. There was a time when I thought unanswered questions were dangerous. Like open wounds, like unfinished business that would eventually demand attention. I believed closure was something you had to chase, that peace came only after you had explained everything to yourself. But life doesn't always work that way. Some experiences don't offer closure. They offer distance. Some moments don't end. They simply become quieter. And the more I tried to force answers, the further away I felt from myself. So I stopped chasing resolution. I stopped asking questions that sounded impressive, questions that felt like they belonged in conversations. Instead, I started asking questions that only existed in the quiet, questions I never planned to answer out loud. Sometimes I sit with myself without trying to do anything at all. No reflection, no analysis, no replaying old scenes, just presence. And in those moments, I notice something subtle but important. I'm no longer arguing with myself. I'm not defending my past. I'm not rewriting decisions. I'm not asking whether it was all worth it. Instead, I ask, am I allowed to feel this even if it doesn't make sense? That question doesn't seek permission from the world. It doesn't care about timelines or expectations or how much time has passed. It's a question that exists only between me and the moment. And sometimes that's enough. I've learned to speak to myself differently, not with urgency, not with judgment. I no longer ask, what should I be doing by now? I ask, am I being too hard on myself today? I don't ask, when will this finally stop affecting me? I ask, what do I need right now, without criticizing the answer. These questions don't demand change. They invite awareness. And awareness, unlike pressure, doesn't exhaust me. There's a kind of peace that comes not from understanding everything, but from no longer fighting what you don't. It's the peace of letting questions exist without turning them into problems. Of letting moments pass without asking them to justify themselves. I don't need every answer anymore. I don't need to know where everything is leading. I only need to know that I can meet myself with patience when the answers don't arrive. I live with questions now, not as puzzles to solve, but as reminders. Reminders to slow down, to listen, to stay present. And if this moment feels familiar, I'm here, listening. You're not alone.